Okay. On my end, I didn't see anything. Did it count down right?
Yeah, it counted down. It counted down.
I think my Wi-Fi flickered. So on my screen, it stayed at 25. So I'm like, is this working? Okay. So if it worked for you, then that means it worked, and that's fine. So welcome back, everyone, to our second episode of, well, I'm not going to say what I want to say. Our second episode of After the Game. Let's just say that. So same people, same guests, same everything, except for different results. And we were talking a little bit before this, just so where everyone knows where we're standing. I've already let him know that I dropped a video where I was very pissed, and I'm still pissed, and that's okay. And I'm allowed to be that. But I still love having these conversations with you because you're there. The experience is different when you're there. You see things differently when you're there. You can probably tell us more about the vibe than we know. So let us know how it was for you. How was it traveling to get there? Did you go to the volleyball game? Or were you?
So unfortunately, I didn't go to the volleyball.
Okay, it's okay. It's okay. I won't hold it against you. No, but how was just like you getting there, arriving? What did the energy feel like? Even before the game, just how did it feel being there once you landed?
Right. So the biggest city near Lincoln, Nebraska is Omaha, Nebraska. So I flew into Omaha, very small airport, very small. It was
Tiny.
a lot of construction going on. But of course, there were a lot of Nebraska fans flying in, not as many CU fans. But a lot of CU fans did fly in the day of from Denver.
Okay.
I saw a lot of them the day of. But I actually picked a hotel that was on the outskirts of Nebraska, and it happened to be like in Iowa. So I didn't realize how close Omaha was to Iowa, which is like,
That's awesome.
yeah, it's on the border. But the next day, which is I got there Friday, so the next day Saturday, it was just like a 45-minute drive to Lincoln, Nebraska, where the stadium is. And as you're driving up to the stadium, it looks like a massive castle.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's cool. Okay.
It's like a fairy tale. I put it in my vlog so you can see it. That's like the first thing you see, but it was amazing. I can't
I
say.
love that.
Yeah.
I can't. And so you get there. Are you in Colorado gear? I can't remember.
Oh
I
yeah.
watched the video. Okay. It's funny. I watched the video and didn't even think to look at what you were wearing. But so you get there, you're in your Colorado gear. How were people with you? Like when they saw that you were like, how was that experience?
Oh man, it was like maybe one Colorado fan for every 3,000 Nebraska fans, and literally every 3,000. But as we're walking up, you can tell we're the only ones in black. It was me and two of my friends, and we're walking up, and you can see like everybody staring and turning their heads, and like you're definitely feeling like, oh, you're outcast type vibe. But
Yeah.
luckily, we didn't. Nobody said anything to us. We just got some crazy looks, but we had to walk around the stadium to get to the gate where we were supposed to go to. But Nebraska does have an amazing new football facility. Football facility complex, which is right by the stadium. I also featured that in the vlog. But I will say they do invest a lot of money into their program. It's the top facilities, some of the best seen in the country. So
I'm going to ask you this, and I want to ask you this because I think it brings context to something I try to say to people is that there's different levels of college football. It's not a knock on anybody. There are just different levels because of money, because of where your school falls, because of boosters, all the things, right? There's some people, it's different. It's just different.
Yeah.
What would you say is the main difference between what you saw at Colorado and Nebraska? Is it just size? Is it just things are bigger? Do they have more gadgets? Like what could you see just kind of being there as a spectator as you smile and you say everything?
Yeah, exactly. You read my mind. Everything, honestly. But most importantly, they've won, I want to say 4 national championships, and they made sure that you knew that they won 4 national.
Ooh, okay.
With that being said, it's of course, the biggest school in the state and the primary school in the state, and they have a lot of alumni who donate and boosters, and it's just very nice, and you can tell they give back plentiful. So, as far as resources,
just looks unlimited. That's what I always that's what I always say. I'm like, it's just unlimited. There's different levels, and it's fine. We listen, in real life, we're all at a level, okay? It's just what it is. But sports aren't any different. So, okay, so get to the stadium, it's crazy, fans or whatever. How loud was it to you?
I've been to a lot of places. I've been to the Swamp. I've been to a bowl game in New Orleans at the Caesars Dome, and I've been in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. That was the loudest stadium I've ever heard in my life. And I feel like it was mainly because of prime time and his sons were playing, and it's a big rivalry game, of course. But I've never experienced anything like it. They were loud from the first time I stepped into the stadium to the game ended. It was crazy. It was crazy.
I love that. How do you feel like Colorado responded to that? Because when you're at the game, you can kind of see, because usually what happens for people that haven't had this experience with going to games, when you look at the players, you can kind of see what they're looking at or what they are fascinated with, because you can watch their heads turn. Because they're like, oh my gosh, how did they look when they were coming out and looking at the field and different things like that, or even just before the game started?
I feel like they were focused, but this definitely was a setting that they weren't used to. Being that this stadium was like a full bowl, like in full bowl stadiums, the sound just like
stays in.
It sinks to the. It was very loud, but I feel like over time they definitely got used to it and adapted to it. But there was one play that honestly I felt like the whole dynamic of the game, and which was the pick six, unfortunately. Dynamic of the game. Yeah.
So sitting at home, the one thing that got me was they come out. I'm like, whatever, this is cool, and Nebraska immediately gets a sack.
Yeah.
And in that moment, because it happened so fast and what I felt like was very easy, I almost felt the energy kind of go, uh-oh.
Yeah. It definitely
like, oh, okay.
We're electric.
Like, yeah. So you said pick six. So I was just wondering, how were you feeling being there as a Colorado fan, watching that first drive? Were you like, oh, that's okay, it's a first drive, the crowd is just in it, we'll be fine? Or were you like, whoa, that was kind of easy?
Well, when number 9, Ty Robinson, the defensive tackle from Nebraska, when he just like broke through the whole line, I was like, oh boy, it might be a long day. Long day.
Yeah. No, I thought that. So you said the pick six. Before the pick six, when they pinned them, what was it, inside the 2 or inside the 3 or whatever? In your mind, and let me tell you what I was thinking. You can tell me what you were thinking. In my mind, I was like, there's no better opportunity now for us to run the ball and get a couple of yards, because that's what everybody in football does. We're going to do one or two things. We're either going to run the ball and get 2 or 3 yards, or, try, or we were going to just take a deep shot, because that's usually what 99.5% of teams do.
Right.
What were you thinking was going to happen during that moment?
Me personally, I was thinking, okay, they're going to go deep here. We need something to just steal the momentum back from them. Okay. A deep shot. But instead of going north and south, going vertical, we went east and west, which is not, I would have, I don't know.
Yeah. And to Shador's credit, he's come out and said, like, that was a rookie mistake. I shouldn't have done that. That shouldn't have happened. And so you're right. I think the one thing I realized watching this game, well, I realized a lot of stuff watching this game, and that's why I made the video. I'm going to plug right here because I was pissed. But one thing I realized was, if Shador Sanders does anything wrong or gets sacked, it's panic, because we're used to him. So first of all, we have a little bit of PTSD from last year. Like, the getting sacked thing freaks us out, and we all kind of take a collective like, oh no. Yeah. But then if he makes mistakes, we also go, oh no, is he not ready? So there's like this weird thing where it's like he holds so much of our like, yeah. And it's like, I realized this weekend, there's so much anxiety when he's out there for me, because I'm like, don't hit him too hard. oh God, get up. Oh God, it's like all these things are
Yeah,
happening.
yeah.
And do you feel that way being in the stadium when he's on the field?
Honestly, this is just me speaking. Like, I see him as somewhat as a superhero.
Yeah.
Out on the field, we have like faith that he's going to be who he is as a person and make plays and be phenomenal as he usually is. So just to see him go down and get sacked, it's like, okay. But when I see him get back up, when I see him walking, okay, that's a breath of fresh.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So it's not just me.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, cool. So the first half happens. Was there any moment where you were like, what the F is this? Like, what is this? Did you ever have a moment where you thought, is this like I just saw us last week and I thought we were kind of building something. We came back, we're doing some things. What is this? Like what happened? What's going on here?
Yeah. When number 20, I want to say, is that Bentley?
Bentley, yeah, the interception draw or the missed opportunity.
Yep, yes. I was like, okay, now this is enough. Now I was over it. I was so over it. Oh my gosh. And I was like right there in the end zone too. And I was like, you can't be serious. You can't be serious. And it deflected off of his hands and bounced towards the
Literally.
Yeah.
I think it managed to hit his body and both of his hands.
Yeah.
And then went to the next guy. So it's just like, hey, let me hold it for 2 seconds and give it to you. I mean, obviously, that's not what he was trying to do, but I'm just saying. Right. So when they come back out, then, so down 28-0, halftime, go in the locker room, you're in the stadium, all these people are loud, all of these people are probably turned up because they are like, we're going to do it. What were you hoping for what were you hoping to see when they came out of the locker room? Like, was there, so, and I'll tell you how I kind of see this. When I watch football games, I always say, okay, we're probably not going to win this game, but I need to see something where I can say, okay, like we can take that and we can carry it to the next thing. So what were you thinking when you were at half or right before they came out? What were you thinking, hoping for the second half?
Yeah, I was hoping that our receiving core in Shador, I was hoping that they would light up the field. They still could. Nebraska could not stop our passing game. They could not. There were we just received pressure. Shador received pressure, which caused them to not be able to perform. But they could not stop those receivers at all. They were, like I said last week, they were just too fast.
Yeah,
hoping that they would make some explosive plays, but.
It's really interesting when you think about how football works, how you can be so great at one thing, but if you can't do this little sliver, it's like,
Yeah.
well,
yeah.
So what positives, because I didn't have any, I let them have it. So you are here to be my other half, where I'm going to say, let me be the person where I'm like, what is this? Why do we do this? Do better, run the ball. This is terrible. This is, let me do that. For you, what did you see that were positives that you're saying, here are 2 things that we have to take into Colorado State?
Okay. Well,
by the way, sorry, I didn't prepare him for these questions, but now that he's in front of me, I have all these great questions that are just coming up in my head. So sorry if he takes a minute to answer it. I failed. I usually do a good job, like kind of, preparing you. But today I thought, you know what? I don't know. These questions are just coming to me, so I'm just asking them.
It's good. It's good. I like it. But I will say our defense only gave up 1 touchdown in the first quarter. That was impressive. I will also say that we ended up giving up 3 touchdowns in the first half, and 1 was the missed interception for a touchdown. Fair. So if he would have caught that interception, they would have only given up 2 touchdowns. Would have been very reasonable coming back into the second half.
Okay.
I will say that. Another positive. Well, whenever we did make a big play, the crowd went mute. That's
good. They did the Beyonce challenge. Everybody was on mute.
Yeah, it was definitely
nice. Okay. How do you feel about the team playing in that atmosphere? I'm reaching here. Just go. I'm really working here. How do you feel like they went to Nebraska? It was loud, it was aggressive, it was all the things. Now their next game is still on the road, but it's in a very different environment. I would like to think Colorado State's going to be nothing like Nebraska, noise-wise, speed-wise, all the things, really everything almost.
Right.
Does that make you feel better? You like, whoa, thank God we don't do that again.
Definitely. Yeah, it definitely makes me feel better. And like I said, this game, there were a lot of mistakes. There were a lot of penalties, a lot of terrible ball spotting by the refs.
Okay. I haven't heard that.
And we had 2 blocked field goals. Those are simple fixes.
Yeah, that wasn't great.
But penalties and terrible ball spotting definitely played a major role in us losing that game.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I mean, yes, if you take away the fact that D line didn't care who was at offensive line. They didn't care. Like, it could have been at that. The way they made that look was like, are those guys there?
Yeah.
Are they blocking? Like,
and let me mention number 9, Ty Robinson. I had to do my homework on him. He's a 6-year senior. He's an absolute monster.
So he's like a grown. Okay, so he's a grown man.
6-year senior. He's 6'6", 310 pounds.
And he moves.
He's in the momentum and the hype. Everybody was just, their defensive line wanted it better, more than I. And
I could see that.
And I had to do my homework. He's been with the program since 2019, so he's experienced.
Wild.
He's experienced. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't even like, as a football fan, you love to see it, right? Because it's good football. It's what he's supposed to do. It's literally his job to do exactly what he did. So you love it and respect it. But as a fan of the team he's doing it to, you're like, oh God, here we go. Like, great. It is what it is. The other thing I'm curious to know about, because you were there, is the elephant in the room is, as of today, Colorado has decided they're not going to run the ball. And when they do run the ball, we are going to have Charlie out there. And I'm just curious to know, what does it feel like being inside the stadium? Well, I don't know if you were around anybody else that was going for Colorado. Is anybody there kind of going, hello? Yeah. Like, or is it just all of us at home yelling, run the ball? Like, what is it?
Yeah. I will say this. There were a lot of parents at the game, so they're not the ones, saying that. But online, like Twitter, we see like, okay, coach, we understand Charlie is, he has a great heart, but Hayden is much bigger. He's physical, and he needs to have the ball in his hands.
Period.
He's a challenge to tackle. He has to have the ball in his hands. If we want to win and give Shador, just give the defense, just disguise it,
something.
Something.
Yeah. That's my biggest thing. Like, I have a lot of complaints, and my underlining problem is undisciplined, and not just undisciplined with the penalties and stuff, not catching the ball and things like that. But at some point, the coaching staff is being undisciplined, because we have to do better. We just have to do better. And yeah, I'm just curious to know what it feels like inside the stadium, where it's just kind of like, guys, are y'all watching this? This can't be real.
I'm glad you brought up that point too, discipline. While I was watching film today, I noticed that Nebraska's wide receivers blocked. They blocked hard all game. And if you go back and watch the film, that's why they were able to break so many big plays, and even the running backs were able to move. The receivers were blocking. CU's receivers, they were not blocking. There were a few plays where they held some guys, but that's a difference maker. Like you said earlier, the small things, the little things, doing it right, and they really got exposed.
And that's the thing, and that's why before we hit record, I'm like, listen, I went off, because I did, because to me, this isn't me coming into football, but this is basic. If you're a receiver, you have to know how to block. Right. If you're a coach, you have to run a balanced offense. If you this isn't hard. You know, if you don't line up off sides, don't jump off sides. Like this isn't like rocket science. This is just basic fundamentals of football. And so the last thing I want to ask you about the game, it's really about Colorado, because I think that it's about the defensive line. In person, what does it look like to you? I know what it looks like on TV, but it just looks like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It just kind of, what are
feel
you
like,
seeing?
I feel like they have to play together more to build a chemistry, to understand where everybody is on the field at one time. You know, and that just comes with repetition. I will also mention they did, when I go back and look at the film, they played a pretty solid game. The defensive line did. But it's only so much you can do when the refs are throwing flags, and it just takes your momentum away. It's like, oh, man, they're against us. We have to play the refs and the players too, you know. And I, as a player, I've been there, so I understand what it's like, you know. And we're playing the refs as well. So the defensive line actually did an okay job, much better than last week. So
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. I understand what you're saying about the refs thing, and I totally understand why you're saying it. I think I'm just so tired of excuses. I'm just
I did see improvement though.
Yeah, but and that's the thing, is like, I don't see the energy, right? I don't see after the play. I don't see after a long drive. I don't see during timeouts. There's a lot of things I don't see at home. So I am very much okay only talking about things from my perspective and it being wrong, but it's just what I can see. And that's my lens. So that's why I like that we're doing this, because tell me something that makes me feel better, because I need it. So thank you, because I'm just like,
There was a lot of upside. I saw good things on film.
Okay.
But
so have you looked at Colorado State at all? And
no, I haven't.
Okay. So after this game ended, how was it getting out of that stadium? Because that's the other thing that is a headache when there's so many people at a stadium. Everybody getting out of there is terrible.
Yeah. So usually after the games, I stay and go to the press conferences. So usually once the press conferences are done, there's nobody left in the stadium. So
cool.
At all. Yeah.
So Nebraska doesn't do like where did I go? And it was like they did like the after the game tailgate. And it was like just as crazy as it was during the game. And I'm just like, I try to kind of wait back and like, I'll sit and wait for 20 minutes. I don't care. But then I realized like I'm waiting, but everybody's outside now, just having a good old time. So that wasn't okay. And then my last question I'll have for you is, what are your plans for next week? And are you looking forward to going and seeing the team? What are your plans for next week? Are you looking forward to going to see the team? And what are you expecting to see out of them next week? Or technically this week, but you know, semantics.
Yeah, so I'm very excited. I will be at the game at Colorado State. What I'm excited to see is how the defense will respond. How will the coaches adjust the run game? Will Hayden be a starter? There are many questions around that as far as the run game, but most importantly, will we play as a team? Who's going to step up and be the leader? Will Shador step up and be not just a leader by example, but a leader verbally? You know, we need player-led teams win national championships.
Okay, you know what? You went there, so I'm going there.
Yeah.
Because and we're going to do this very carefully, because this is not, we're not here to knock Shador by any stretch of the imagination.
No.
But can you give just a little bit of context of what you mean by him being a vocal leader? Because from what I see at home is during a game, he's doing his thing, right? He's supposed to, right? He's doing his thing. He's watching his film. He's doing all the things he's supposed to do. But then it seems like as the game goes on, there's almost a disconnect. And he's doing his thing still, but there's never a time. Again, I'm at home, where it's kind of like, I'm not saying he has to be a rah-rah, but give me, like hit the defender's hands as they run off the field. You know what I'm saying? Like, give me that, like,
that leadership.
Yeah, like, so that's what I see. Is that what you're saying in regards to you just want to see more of him when it comes to the whole team?
Just overall speaking, like on offense and defense, not just specifically him, but offense and defense. We need those vocal leaders. Of course, you have them in the off season in the weight room and stuff like that. But when your back is against the wall, you're in a rivalry game, in an away rivalry game, someone needs to step up. Travis he tries. I'll give it to Travis.
He does.
He tries, but it will be more receptive coming from Shedeur. And Shedeur is a cool, calm, and collected type of guy. He leads by example. But the teams that win national championships are player-led teams, vocal leaders. The only guy that I can think of who really wasn't as vocal but was just a cool, calm guy who a lot of people compare him to is Joe Burrow,
That's fair.
But
even though he was a little fiery, though, he had his moments, and I think because we live in a world where anytime you give a little bit of feedback to anybody on the planet, it is perceived as the most terrible thing in the world. Yeah. I want to say this isn't terrible. This is sports. This is football. This is how it is. Not just football. This happens in volleyball too. Quite frankly, this happens in life. If you and I were in a relationship and you weren't communicating effectively, you know what? I would say you're not communicating effectively and I need you to step up. And you wouldn't say I'm terrible. You would say, my bad. I got you. Like, this is how it works. So I just want everybody to stop being so critical when it comes to people receiving feedback. It's okay. We all listen. I heard it from my mom this morning. I didn't do anything wrong. It wasn't even my fault, but I listened because I love her. Yeah. And so it's like, and I just wish that we could get out of this. If you say something bad or if you say something negative, it means you're not a fan. And that's not it. It's just, we want more. We want more. That's it. Yeah. And we want this team to win. And you know what? I want to talk trash to all the people that I was like, this is going to work out. Like I'm literally waiting for the moment where I could say, told you. So.
And one thing that we all have to remember, this is a very, very young team, as far as like building a program wise. These guys, they're coming in, they barely know each other, but they only have a few months to get adjusted and, actually gel. Don't get me wrong. They did a lot of off-season training and off-season workouts together, but it takes time to build a program,
Can you say that again for the people in the back? I don't think sometimes people have trouble hearing it when it comes straight forward. Can you say that just one more time about time?
Yes, it takes time to build a program, and Coach Prime has done a phenomenal job with the time that he's had, with the resources and players that he has. And just to be the face of college football alone without even playing, that speaks volume,
That's
so
a good point.
And I feel like that puts pressure on them, but they're going to say there's no pressure. No.
Are you in my brain? I agree with you. You know what? I agree with you. Thank you for saying that, because I think you're spot on. And I think that it's one of those X factors that we don't always talk about is if Coach Prime could go out there and play, I don't think any of this matters, because he can rally his team and be like, hey, just let me take all the pressure. You guys do you. It's on me. It's fine. Right. He can't. And I think but it doesn't stop people. He said in his press conference at some point, a lot of teams want to beat me more than they want to beat my team. Right. And he's absolutely right. And that is adding pressure. And if we don't want to admit it, fine. Yeah. We don't, fine. But it's adding pressure. Yeah. I just want to say this before we end this video. I'm selfishly super excited for all the pressure Colorado has because it's allowing my Longhorns just to sneak on by. Nobody cares. You know, like nobody cares. It's like, because let's be honest, if it wasn't for Coach Prime, especially right now, everybody would be talking about Texas.
Yeah.
But they're not because there's Coach Prime. And so for me, I'm like, come on, Texas, like, do your thing. Like, just mosey on behind, you know, all the noise, just stay silent, go to work, don't get a big head, stay focused, win games. Right. So I hear you, and I do agree with you that I don't think that is a factor, and it can be distracting. And I hope they figure out a way to either turn it off or turn it down. And they can, and maybe Michigan will be the turning point. Maybe Michigan will be the time where they say, gosh, we weren't focused. We could do better. We're going to be better. We're going to do better. So let us hope.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah.
Please. So I'll end this, but is there anything else you want us to know? You want us to, like I did before, all of your information will be in the description. I try to at least tag 1 or 2 of your videos pertaining to this. So if you're at the end of this and you're like, wait, where do I find them? In the description notes or the videos that I tag in the video at the top, the little black button at the top, you can actually click and go right to his page and you can see all of his content will be there. So that's me doing my part, but I just want to know, is there anything else you want us to know? Anything else that you saw that we didn't see? I totally freeballed this whole conversation and didn't prepare you. I was like, let's keep it the same. And then you get on here and I'm like, so tell me about.
No, it's all good. It's all good. There are 2 things that I do want to share. Number one, for the defense, I feel like the linebackers and defensive backs have to work on their pursuit angles. When I was watching film, I could just tell like their angles were terrible. And that comes with they call this drill the pursuit drill. It's like a drill that all defenses run and they work on. And pretty much you just have to run towards the sideline, whichever way, whoever has the ball is running up the field, and you all have to meet in a certain spot. Pursuit, they have to focus on that. Number 2, a lot of people were questioning why Shedeur Sanders left the game before it ended. If they probably didn't realize he took a late hit, and it was a targeting in the 4th quarter, a targeting late hit, and they wanted to make sure he was okay more than anything. That's why the backup went into the game, and it's so important to make sure that your starting quarterback is okay. And
I agree.
A lot of people had an issue with that. I'm like, are y'all serious?
You know why? It was a telecast. Mm-hmm. So what happened for us is we see him get hit. It doesn't look good. We see the medical staff surrounding him. Mm-hmm. And then it was like they didn't really touch on it again. Mm-hmm. And then the next thing they say about him, I think, is, oh, Shedeur Sanders is heading to the locker room. Yeah. It was like an off-kilter comment. It wasn't, oh, the training staff is with, you know what I mean? So I think what happened, and again, the media, this is the power that they have. Right. And so they literally, and I was one of those people, I was like, why did he go to the locker room?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, where's he going? So, and it wasn't until somebody posted a video to this morning on Twitter that showed the medical staff around him. We didn't see that on TV, and the commentators didn't say it.
Nope.
So, yeah. So thank you for clearing that up, because like I said, I didn't know. And I was like, really, Shedeur, like, you're just going to run in the locker room, you know, like but if he he was supposed to go to the locker room, and the commentators need to tell us that. Right. But anyways, thanks for clearing that up, and thanks for your tidbits. And I like that I get to talk to you every week, because I feel like you kind of put a closure to it. Like, I have my video and I get to feel how I feel. And then you come in and you're kind of like, yes, but no, but yes, but kind of, you know, I love that, because I like the difference. I like the different perspectives. So thank you for doing this and chatting with me. And let's hope Colorado State is just different. Let's just hope it's just different.
And fun fact, this is their first time playing on the campus of Colorado State University for over some years now, because they've usually played at the Denver Broncos Stadium or at CU. So
Interesting.
Over 10 years, maybe longer than that. But,
Did Colorado State not have a stadium, or is that just? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Listen, we can't lose to a team that didn't even have a stadium.
Yeah, so
I'm standing on it. So, anyways, well, thanks for chatting with me. If you haven't already subscribed to his channel, go subscribe to his channel. Watch his content. It's way more entertaining than mine is. And he'll have like up close, personal, in-game stuff, real game stuff, his commentary, arriving to the sites, arriving to the location. I still think you have the best video of that Travis Hunter catch, in my opinion, because not only did you capture the catch, you caught the beginning of everybody saying he's going to do the thing. And so that's just my personal opinion. But anyways, so go there, go subscribe, go do all the things, show him some love, leave him some comments.
Thanks again.
Cool.
I appreciate it.
Yep. We'll talk to you next week.